And at this point in time, I will turn the meeting over to Sean Gaffney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you want to introduce the board members real quick, just so sure everybody online knows?
I'm Chris McCann.
I'm Eric Tunke.
Jack Petrie.
And online, we also have Matt Halverson, and board member Ken Lodovico was not able to join us today. My name is Sean Caffrey, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the district, and I'll be joined today in this presentation and question and answer and public comment session by Rob Weisbaum. Rob is our EMS and fire chief and heads up the operational side of the Crested Butte Fire Protection District. And also joining us is Steve Harms from Fire Facilities Inc. They're the manufacturer of the fire training building. And our plan for the day is to run through a brief presentation of kind of the key features of the building and how it works and how it will impact the community. And then we'll take questions and any comments. I do just want to make everybody aware that we are recording this session today, and the intention is for those who are unable to attend today, or for those who may see the building as it starts to go up, to be able to watch a recorded version of this presentation online that will be available on our website in a few days. So with that, we'll just get started here. Basically, I'm not going to read all of the points of this slide, but I'll hit the highlights. The reason we are interested as a fire district in a fire training building is because we, like many fire departments across the country, have very few actual fires. That's a testament essentially to modern building codes, fire codes, electrical codes that have made buildings substantially safer over time. So fires in general are under 3% of the work that most fire departments do across the country. And in our case, most of our activity is in the ambulance and the emergency medical services realm, with a much smaller percentage of fire-related activities. Across the country, however, fires are not unheard of, and they're certainly not unheard of in our fire district as well, with over 1 million reported fires annually, over 4,000 were reported annually in Colorado. And it's certainly not uncommon for fires to result in death or serious injury. Not that many in Colorado, averages between 10 and 15 a year in our state. And that's the good news is they are relatively rare. The bad news is that fires are more dangerous when they do occur. Unlike previous eras, most of the things in homes and businesses now are made a lot more so of flammable plastics and other chemical compounds. When those ignite, they release very toxic fire gases, and if individuals in a fire don't evacuate quickly, it can become very dangerous and deadly very quickly. And the other piece of this is that as we've upgraded our building materials, they are less expensive and more lightweight than they have been in the past, but they tend to burn faster and fail sooner. So the other piece to kind of just bring into the mix here is that we are a very small fire protection district. Generally, we have 5 to 6 people on duty every day. So our ability to really approach a fire is to get on it quickly and put it out quickly and efficiently, and that requires practice. We also have trouble taking our staff out of the fire district to train. And that's just a function of if we go to the training center in Gunnison or in Montrose, that requires a certain amount of people to go down and train. It requires a certain additional amount of people to staff the fire itself, and then it requires a third group of people and equipment to stay back here and provide coverage in the fire district while a large group is training outside of the fire district. So that is essentially why we decided early on as part of our new fire station campus project to really try to build a training facility into the mix. Steve,
Sean, can I add to that?
you may.
That's more of a reason why you need to have a training facility, because you don't have enough real fires. And I don't mean that in a bad way. But the biggest thing is you will be training under live fire conditions under Class A fuels and Class B fuels in this training tower. But the thing about it, you'll be able to feel the heat, take them at 500. When I do the training, we're gonna take you to 500, 600, 800, and 1,000 at the ceiling. And that way you'll see as we train that are you gonna make interior attack? Are you gonna ventilate before you make interior attack? So it'll be automatic, but the better you'll be trained, not only for yourselves, but the public will be safer because you'll be better trained under real fire conditions when they do happen. So the next thing is mutual aid. Other departments, train with other departments, bring them in. And when you have a big situation, a bad situation, and you gotta call mutual aid in and other departments in, train with them and you'll be trained with them so you know what they do and how they act, and you get to know them a lot better, and it's a lot safer. So the biggest thing is about having a training facility, you'll be safer because you're gonna train more and more, and you're gonna wanna train, and everybody wants to train, and you'll be under live fire conditions. So when you do have an incident, when you do have a fire, then you know how to handle it even better. So that's the biggest thing, why training facilities more than ever, like Sean said, because of everything that's going on, the way things are changing.
Thank you, Steve. And Chief, anything to add from your perspective?
Not at the moment.
Thank you. Okay, so about our training building in particular, we have purchased essentially a pre-engineered metal training structure from fire facilities, and in size, it's about 49 feet in length, 22 feet in width, and about 30 feet tall. It's essentially a non-occupiable structure, so it's a utility structure specifically designed for fire training purposes, and it doesn't really have any interior plumbing, living spaces, or anything along those lines. It is intended to simulate a typical structure in our area, and a two-story small home, which this simulates, is a very common structure, particularly in the older parts of our fire district. It is indeed purpose-built just for the fire training purpose, and it will have two training burn rooms that I'll talk about more extensively in a few minutes. It also has an artificial smoke generation capability that is able to fill the entire building with smoke for training purposes. It's a very similar smoke to what's used in theatrical productions and relies on a non-toxic fluid that's heated that actually generates the smoke. The structure will have some movable interior partitions to simulate the actual interior of a structure, and those can be changed around. We will also be able to practice activities on the roof, and there's actually a railing structure that can be placed on the roof to make it safer for training purposes. And there will also be stairs, both interior and exterior, to the structure as well, that help us practice advancing hose lines and those types of activities. And this structure here on the slides is actually the same model that we are purchasing. moving on to what the structure will look like on our site, it will be north of the new fire station that's currently going up. So essentially in between the fire station and the Slate River, kind of off the edge of the north part of the parking lot. The architects were kind enough to do a rendering for us of that. So, but basically it will be most visible when approaching the emergency services campus complex from the Mount Crested Butte side on County Road 317. And then from the other direction, leaving the town of Crested Butte, heading up toward the mountain, it will be less visible and kind of tucked in the back there, and there will be an access road next to it where we will be able to park fire apparatus in the vicinity of the tower in addition to the parking lot area. And my thanks to our architectural group for helping us with these pictures. In terms of the actual site plan, kind of where the scale is in the upper right corner is the Slate River and the bridge that crosses County Road 317. And then coming onto our site, we're essentially in the area that was the old County Road 317 grade that approaches the old bridge abutment. And the structure will essentially be off the parking lot there, have that access road on the side of it. That access road will also go down to what is known as a dry hydrant, where in an emergency, we can pull water from the Slate River. We're really not for training purposes, but in the event of a fire in the area, that's kind of a dual purpose road there. And then the facility itself will drain, it'll have drains in the foundation that go to the structure that is just underneath the training building, which is a pond structure that will be built into the site to take drainage from the parking lot, the road, and the fire training building. And it'll, water will be in that detention pond area prior to it draining downhill on the site, and the entire structure, including the pond, all of this will be outside the wetlands area that is immediately adjoining the river, so up the hill closer to the fire station. So any questions on or comments on the location? All right, hearing none, I'll talk a bit more about the burn rooms themselves. There will be two on the ground level. It's a Class A burn room, and we'll use the term Class A, Class B in this presentation. All of you are probably familiar with the ABC fire extinguisher. It's exactly the same classification system where Class A is an ordinary combustible material like wood or paper. Class B is a flammable liquid. Essentially the Class A burn room is where we will burn ordinary combustibles. And there are rules about what one can burn in fire training evolutions. We have to essentially use non-toxic natural materials according to the National Fire Protection Association standards on live burn evolutions. So basically that means that the Class A burn room will be straw and wood pallets. And Steve, I think, might be able to help me with this as he has a bit more experience with these structures, but my understanding is we'll probably never need more than 2 or 3 pallets at a time to generate the heat, smoke, and fire we're looking for in a training evolution. Am I correct on that?
That's correct. 2 pallets, and when I come out to the training, we're gonna have a tray, and you're gonna be able, I'll show you how to do just 2 to 3 pallets in the burn room. We'll take it up to 1,000 degrees in 5 minutes. So again, we're gonna do different things, and on the training side of it, on the Class A, we will actually do live fire and, 2 to 3 pallets, exactly right, Sean, as far as what the source of the fuels will be. And that will take it up to the temperatures you need to, because over 1,000 degrees, then you're doing damage to your helmet, your bunkers, your shields and everything else. So no reason to take it up over that. I found that to be the threshold. But with our temperature monitoring system that is, will be in this facility, we do everything 100% NFPA. So it will have a temperature monitoring system. It will have thermocouples, 2 on the ceiling, 1 shoulder height. And the actual fuels in there, especially with the Class A fuels, 3 pallets will be the max that you'll need to have in your burn rooms, in your size burn rooms to make it usable. So, and the thing is about our new burn rooms, they will take 2,000 degrees before they do any damage. We have a new stainless steel designed burn room. Don't take it anywhere near there, but the best part about our new burn rooms is when it hits 1,000, alarms are gonna start going off, hold it here. We don't need to go any higher because we're gonna start doing damage to ourselves and the people that are in there. So knock down the fire a little bit, don't blacken it, and then open a door and window with this new stainless steel system. Within 5 minutes, you can take your glove off and touch our interior lining. That's how quick it cools down. So it's state of the art. The old paginite type panels you guys have probably seen in other towers, that's the old technology. We still make that product because we have 500 towers throughout the world that still have that product. We're taking that out and putting in our new liner system, which works a lot better, both for Class A and Class B. But the biggest thing is doing evolution after evolution. You do evolution after evolution, throw another pallet on, close it back up. 5 minutes later, it's back up to the temperature you want to train it. So smoke level will be about 2 feet off the floor when the ceiling's at 1,000 degrees.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, and I think in terms of the impact of the Class A burning with 2 pallets and the straw as the accelerant, we're looking at essentially a smoke situation that's pretty similar to a large campfire, small bonfire, kind of approach on that, and that's the Class A burn room. So the Class B, or the propane fired burn room, this technology is really essentially pretty similar to a propane grill, but it essentially the gas comes up through kind of a water bath to create realistic flame effects, and the props are engineered to look like a bed, an appliance, a cabinet. And it allows us to extinguish those in that room. And essentially what's different between A and B is B does not produce smoke, much like a grill does not produce smoke. So you actually need the artificial smoke to create the realistic training environment in the Class B burn room. So, anything else to add there, Steve?
On the Class B fires, you will have a wireless wand that will control it and do a little flame, do big flame, and not for long periods of time. But the biggest thing is on the hose streams, a different fog nozzle, that type thing, to practice going in and actually doing more water in that room than anything else. And heat wise won't be the same. About 600 degrees will be the max temperature when in a Class B fire. But the biggest thing is it's easy to control, and the smoke level, like Sean was saying, you can have as much smoke in there as you want, and we can smoke up the whole building, do search and rescue, and come up and attack the fire up in the Class B burn room and put a lot of flame to it, and then slowly make it come back down. So there's lots of variations on the fire that will be in the Class B burn room. So you guys have the best of both worlds, both Class A, which we need to have also, and Class B, so you can do a lot more with your hoses and patterns and that type of thing.
Thanks, Steve. Chief, anything at this point? All right. Going into a little bit more detail on the burn rooms, and we've kind of talked about a bunch of this already, but essentially we won't be using that much fuel in the Class A burn room in terms of just a couple of pallets of fuel for those. All of the training burns are actually contained in the structure in those insulated rooms, temperature monitored, etc. So there won't be any fires that are set outside the building in terms of impact there, in terms of going back to the rule book, in terms of the NFPA 1403 standard, we are prevented from even using treated lumber. So OSB or glued together materials can't be used as a result of the chemicals in the glues that hold kind of plywood together. And then hydrocarbon accelerants are not authorized for use in live fire training purposes anymore as well. So we won't have any of those. The real advantage of the propane, as we've kind of hinted at previously, and the real difference in between this class A and B piece is class A is a production. You have to have a safety plan for all of the practice burns. But in terms of the class A, there has to be a crew to start and monitor the fire and maintain watch over it in terms of having extra personnel assigned to a safety role. It's very realistic, but it does produce essentially wood smoke, and that wood smoke essentially saturates our gear and our equipment. So most of the issue around Class A fires is about 24 hours it takes after the training evolution to actually clean all the gear and get everything back in service. So we anticipate we will not be doing nearly as many Class A burns as we'll be doing Class B burns, because Class B burns don't actually put any toxins or any byproducts of combustion on the gear, and the cleanup is easy, and the props are essentially instant on, instant off in terms of how they work. So expecting a lot more Class B burns in a tower over time. We don't intend to use much water in these burn rooms. Usually it'll be 100 gallons or so. Steve, do you have any other comments on the amount of water generally used?
Because of 2 to 3 pallets in the burn room, like I say, and you don't blacken it each time, just knock it down a little bit. And then open up a door and window and take the heat out, and then put another pallet on and do it again. So 100 gallons is on the high side, really is. So don't use a lot of water. You can spray as much water in our towers as you want to, because each floor will take 1,000 gallons a minute. That's how our actual drain system will work. But there's no reason to do that unless you want to. But the biggest thing is, don't waste a bunch of water. You're not gonna waste thousands and thousands of gallons in off the hydrant, that type thing, and go into the holding pond. So exactly right. And that 100 gallons is on the high side. But on the gas, you're exactly right. Gas, a lot more theatrical type production, but it's still fire, and you hit the fire, and you can practice a lot more with it. And again, it still gets your attention, still gets my attention. And I've been in hundreds of fires, so it really works well. Excuse me. And then on the Class A side, for training for NFPA to get your hours per year, again, you're not gonna burn every day Class A type product, but you're gonna burn enough that to do your certification. But in order to feel the heat and get real repetitious as far as should I make interior attack or not in a real fire. So that's the biggest thing that will happen.
Yeah, thanks, Steve, and I appreciate that. And I think I've already talked a bit about the comprehensive safety planning, how we have to monitor temperatures, how we have to have extra personnel, and how we have to have extra water available, especially on the Class A burns, in order to make sure things stay under control and safe for our personnel. So.
Oh, exactly right. And the SOPs, SOGs that you guys will on this building that you will update. Again, I can sure help with that as far as the wording and things that can happen in there, but go by, I mean, you guys are under NFPA guidelines, and use those guidelines, are there for a reason. So, and this, everything we do on our towers, we manufacture and design is 100% NFPA. So certification for firefighter 1, firefighter 2 certification, and brings, also the police could come in and use it also, and because we're on scene together, that type thing. So do scenarios with them also coming in and do things that you want to, as far as when you're on scene on a real incident, a big incident, practice that also.
So thanks, Steve. And then Steve was kind enough to provide us a couple of action shots of other structures like ours in action. So I think what you're seeing on this slide is a typical representation of a burn inside in one of the burn rooms, and activity going on outside, as well as activity going on with the ladder. On this, I think that this is what you would typically see from the site in action, but I will defer to Steve for any other comments on
You
this.
see this amount of smoke that's coming out, that is at 1,000 degrees in each burn room. The one on the second floor is burning, first floor is burning, and you can see that's the amount of smoke it's putting out. And when you do open and knock it down a little bit, open up the doors and windows, there'll be a puff of smoke just like that. So that's the amount of smoke. Then after that, it'll dissipate to nothing, even on the Class A. So, not a lot of smoke will come out, so a lot of complaint there, but ladder it. Our towers are 5,000 pounds a square inch. They're made to ladder the windows. We actually have pieces that can be replaced, which I've never replaced in 15 years on any tower. The bottom piece, ladder it and ladder the siding, rappel off of it. So our towers are very durable. They're 99% fireman proof at this point. We keep trying to get 100% after 45 years of making these things, and we're not there. We'll never get there, but we always find something to upgrade. Yep, that's for sure. But this is typical ladder truck doing ventilation up on top of the roof. Yours will actually have a safety railing up on top of the second story on the residence, which I highly recommend it, and thank goodness you guys are putting it on. I appreciate that just for safety, because this is for safety, this is for training. We want everybody safe on the training side of it, so when you do have a real situation, you're really cautious on what you do.
All right, thanks, Steve. I think just talking a bit more about the extinguishing agents we'll be using. I think on the site we'll be primarily using water from our fire equipment to extinguish the practice fires, and this will primarily be in that 100 gallons of less or less amount. We do anticipate some training primarily of the public on the site around how to use the standard ABC fire extinguisher. Those fire extinguishers essentially have a non-toxic dry chemical powder. It's an irritant, but it's not toxic. So we expect a little bit of that to happen now. We do that training now around the fire district on a regular basis with the fire extinguishers. In terms of the use of foam, the CBFPD does have some foams in our inventory. They do not contain any of the PFAS chemicals that have been of concern, particularly in airport firefighting. And the foams we use are certified by the Forest Service for use in the wildland fire setting, but I don't anticipate a lot of foam use in the structure over time. And then I think, as I talked about, the runoff actually contains itself in the structure. It'll drain into the foundation, both inside and just outside the structure, and that'll go into the detention pond system the civil engineers have already created for us to put that runoff into that pond, and that's the same runoff that's coming from the parking areas and a little bit from the street. And essentially, we anticipate that the runoff from the street and the parking lot will probably be a lot more contaminated than anything that happens in the fire training structure. And as I mentioned earlier, the entire facility, as well as the drainage system, is located outside of the wetlands buffer area that adjoins the Slate River. Any questions on that slide before I move on? All right. And then just in terms of other things we'll be doing with the structure, and I think I'm quoted in the paper today as explaining that I think the largest impact of the facility will be the clanking and banging of firefighters' equipment, hoses and ladders on a building. We are clearly excited to have all that capability to throw ladders, practice ventilation procedures, limited visibility rescues, firefighters self-rescue operating on the roof, as Steve just talked about, as well as advancing hose lines. Upstairs, the stairwell interior will have a standpipe system similar to our larger hotel type buildings in the fire district. And as mentioned, we'll also be able to do rope rescue. And if we start on the second floor, we'll be able to practice as if we're going the low grade in training evolutions as well. And a lot of those training evolutions don't involve a simultaneous fire also happening, although certainly could. So.
If I can expand on this, Sean, if I
Yeah.
may, in our towers, you see that red iron. We over-engineer that red iron 3 times the size, so down the road, if you wanna go higher on your residence, or you wanna go sideways out on your tower, or go 2 more, 3 stories, 4 stories higher on your tower, you can. That's the beauty about our product. Another thing is, everything else is bolted to that red iron, so the red iron is bolted together, so we can unbolt it, go higher, wider, whatever we need to. But the rest of it is in the non-load bearing walls, curtain walls, we call them, that are bolted to the red iron, the flooring's bolted to that, the ceiling's bolted to that, so it's very easy to make changes. So if you wanna add a window over here on the right, guess what? You cut into the siding, put a window frame in, you got a window. You wanna add a door there, or you wanna take the window or door out, very easy to take it out, put new siding on it, it's gone. So our towers are very easy to make changes to. And a lot of the things that you have on your tower for today's needs, we have over 250 options and props that we've done over 45 years of doing these things. So as your training changes and you need to make some changes to your tower, very inexpensive because it's not brick and mortar. It's brick and mortar is the structure itself. So the red iron's the structure. That's what takes the weight. So it's easy to make changes and adds to our tower. So that's the beauty about what we manufacture and been at it for a long time for that reason. But there's a lot of things, if your training changes, you have some other needs, then we can add it to the tower down the road if you need it for your training side of it.
Thanks, Steve. So just a few other kind of final details in terms of how it's going to come together and how we intend to use the structure. So the materials are actually arriving on site as we speak. The training facility was contemplated in our initial land use change request a number of years ago. We anticipate that the construction will occur over the course of the summer. Actually, the same group that put up the pre-engineered search and rescue building will actually be doing the assembly of this building. And we expect it will be done sometime in the early to mid fall, based on all the other things happening on that site. The overall cost all in, including the building, including the Class B burn props, all of the site preparation, foundation, earthwork and permitting will come out to about $1.2 million total. The facility does not have a lot of interior lighting, so we anticipate it will be used primarily during the day and evening. So we don't anticipate any early morning or late night use of the facility at this point in time. Our crews also work a 48-hour shift, so they essentially work during the day and sleep at night as our primary operational model to begin with. And as I mentioned earlier, we're not anticipating a ton of Class A burns. If I were to guess, I would bet we do those probably somewhere between quarterly and monthly, and probably leaning a lot more towards quarterly, but hopefully a lot more often with the Class B capability of the structure. And we do very much hope to invite the public out to watch us use the facility. We've spoken to our colleagues in Gunnison who have a Class A burn facility, and they said they had great success inviting the community out to watch them do their training evolution. So we hope to repeat that as well when the facility becomes operational. And with that, before we open it up for questions and answers, Steve, anything else from your perspective?
As the tower gets, it goes along here, I have my project manager, operations manager, and myself. We'll be out here periodically as needed to help, on the erection side of it. And once it is erected and done, then I will be back out as an NFPA trainer. I will show everyone involved how to run everything correctly, how to burn correctly for NFPA guidelines and everything else in the tower. But mainly how to run all the temperature monitoring systems and the fans and different things you're gonna have in this tower. So I will be out to do that as a service, as far as, thank you for letting fire facilities build you a state-of-the-art facility that will be here long after all of us are fishing down the road, so that's a good thing. But all of our towers are in service. We've been doing it for 45 years. We have over 150 towers that are approaching 45 years old, and they're still in service, so that's the kind of longevity you get. So on our siding, the word steel in our name is the red iron steel. The rest of it's all made out of galvalume. It's a product we have specially made for us. It takes higher tensile strength, higher heat to earn it. But the best thing about galvalume, it doesn't rust. So that's why our towers last the longevity like they do. So,
Any closing comments on the overview, Chief?
I think if there's anything to be said about training, we often fall to our lowest level of training. So if we're consistent in training routine, throughout the course of a year, our standard's gonna be high, so that when the time comes when we have to respond to our community's needs, we are providing a level of excellence to our constituents and our community and the people that we serve. And I think that would be all that I have to add for this, the importance around having a facility such as this.
Thanks, Chief.
I also have to put the foot on the wall.
Yeah.
Can't overtrain for a job that tries to kill you. The training is very important.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, and so that's all I had in terms of a formal presentation. From here, we wanted to throw it open to questions that we may not have answered, or any other details that folks might be interested in, and also take any public comments as part of our typical public meeting process. So questions or comments?
What are the windows made out of?
they're made out of galvalume also. We make those ourselves. They will be galvanized. And they are made by us, and they do have a foam, a product inside of them that doesn't let them burn also, especially in the burn rooms. So burn rooms have a special window and a special frame around them to take the heat and that type of thing. So the rest of them are also, they have a core in them, so they are very durable and made to ladder.
So we don't use them for forcible entry.
You can, yes.
And
Yeah.
you would replace them?
Yes, you can replace them, yes. Yep, sure can.
They're
But you do have,
shutters.
yeah, there are shutters and they do have some slam latches that will be on them. But the biggest thing is you do have a BTI door installed, it will be installed in this tower. So you can use that for your, the windows. Blow them open, everybody likes to do them different ways, to take your hose stream and, blow them open, that type of thing. Use the ram door to do your, your ram and their training, instead of prying the windows open, that type of thing, okay?
And another question I had is, what about flooring on the interior flooring? Does that burn and collapse, or do you sound it and stuff like that?
You can on where you do have the actual chop outs on the roof that you will have where you can sound it. And you can actually put actual deck stringers in there and put 2x4s in there if you want to, so you can sound it as you can cut in between the 2x4s, that type of thing. Yes, so that's available. The floors themselves, this is galvalume again, and this one does show a floor door. Excuse me. This does show a floor door in here. It's a 4x4 floor door that does open up so it can be laddered from one floor to another, okay? But the biggest thing is, see these tracks in the floor? You can't fill them with your bunkers as you're doing search and rescue in there and you're crawling around. But these tracks drain, the floors are gonna be slightly pitched in the center and go out into the wall system. So that's where the water gets into and goes into our wall system, drains down, like Sean was saying, into the foundation. Then the foundation will drain the water into that holding pond. So those tracks here, not only on the roof, but all of our flooring, you don't need anything on here because this is galvalume. And as it gets wet, it actually gets more sticky. As your rubber boots or leather boots get on this product, as it gets wet, it actually gets more sticky. So it's a galvalume product. But the actual drain is goes into our wall system and will drain the water out. Okay.
Other questions or comments? Annie, is there anybody online? Raised hands? Is there anybody out there?
There's no one out there.
Well. All right, well, if there are no more questions or comments, I appreciate everyone's time for attending this, especially Steve for making the trip. Who handle how many states for fire facilities?
14 states in the west, we have Canada, and we take turns in different parts of the world, so I enjoy it. It's a lot of travel, but again, I believe in the product and what we do. And retired fire chief from Golden, Colorado, so 27 years as chief, so I get that. I was very big on the training and safety side of it, so I thought I was ready to retire as chief. I was not. I was ready to retire, but now I still get to do the burns and get one of my bunkers on and that type of thing. So still really enjoying it. But again, fire facility's been around for a long time. We're here for the long term. So sorry, I'm Ed. I'm your contact. We are the factory. We are the designer. We are the manufacturer and engineering group. So we have it all internal. So we're proud of the product we manufacture. So thank you for letting fire facilities build you this training structure.
Thank you, Steve.
Where is it built?
It is built in Wisconsin, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. We have 3 manufacturing plants there. We just did put another one online. Biggest part of our business is Tractive Building Systems, which builds storage facilities. So any of the roll-up door, steel roof, that's our big part of our business. So on those same machines, we make all this type product, and they started this 45 years ago. And we also do the tactical side. We do the SWAT, tactical, government MP type products. So really the tactical side has been the fastest growing product line in the last 5 years. We've always been big on the fire, and fire's going crazy also, but combination public service type buildings, combination buildings, police and fire together. A lot of that's happening. So again, the police can use this too as they need to, or it's up to the department, but anyway, you guys want to handle that? But made in Wisconsin, and we ship them all over the world from there. It's a big erector, so.
All right, thanks, Steve. Any other questions or comments? Alrighty, well, with that, our final slide here is the contact information for the fire district, as well as our email address. As mentioned, we will make this presentation and Q&A session available on our website for folks to watch at any time. That'll probably take a few days, but overall, we appreciate everybody's time and attention and look forward to continuing to be a well-prepared fire department to serve the needs of the community. So that concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
The board member comments, concerns, anything? Motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
The meeting.